the hidden spiritual law that attracts wealth faster than hard work. There's a quiet truth hidden behind all the noise about success, a truth that Earl Nightingale and Bob Proctor spent their lives trying to help the world understand. It's this: hard work alone does not create wealth. The world is filled with people who work tirelessly, yet struggle endlessly. And at the same time, others seem to move through life effortlessly, attracting opportunities, money, and success as if some unseen force were guiding them. That unseen force is not luck. It's not privilege. It's not coincidence. It's a spiritual law as real as gravity. A law that connects thought, energy, and vibration. A law that, once understood and applied, can attract wealth faster and more consistently than any amount of labor. Earl Nightingale called it the law of cause and effect on the spiritual plane. Bob Proctor described it as the law of vibration and attraction. Both were pointing to the same principle. The universe does not reward effort. It rewards alignment. Every thought you think, every emotion you hold, every belief you embody emits a frequency. That frequency interacts with the quantum field around you, a vast ocean of energy that responds perfectly to vibration. You are constantly broadcasting your reality, and the universe is constantly echoing it back to you. When your vibration aligns with abundance, abundance flows. When it aligns with struggle, struggle follows. This is not mysticism, it's law. Just as you can't expect to hear jazz on a radio tuned to a rock station, you can't receive prosperity while vibrating scarcity. Bob Proctor used to say, most people are working harder than they need to because they're not thinking in harmony with the laws that govern wealth. He meant that physical action, while important, is secondary to spiritual vibration. The right vibration will magnetize the right opportunities, people, and circumstances, making what used to feel like effort become flow. Nightingale often told his audience, "We become what we think about." But if you listen closely, he wasn't only talking about the mind. He was talking about the spiritual energy behind thought. Thought without emotion is just a concept. Thought charged with belief, gratitude, and purpose becomes a creative command. It's the difference between hoping and knowing, between wishing and manifesting. The hidden spiritual law that attracts wealth faster than hard work is resonance. Resonance means you don't force, you harmonize. You don't chase, you allow. You don't work for money, you work with the frequency of wealth itself. Think about music for a moment. When two strings are tuned to the same note and one begins to vibrate, the other begins to resonate automatically. No physical contact, no visible connection. Just energy aligning with energy. That's exactly how the universe works. When your vibration matches the frequency of abundance, wealth must come to you. It has no choice because energy seeks resonance. This is why so many people exhaust themselves without ever feeling fulfilled. They're playing the wrong note. They're using the physical world to fix what is, at its root, a spiritual misalignment. They think, if I just work harder, longer, smarter. Yet inside, their vibration remains one of fear, doubt, or lack. And that vibration cancels out their effort. Bob Proctor would often say, you don't get rich by doing certain things. You get rich by doing things in a certain way. That way is spiritual harmony. It's doing everything from a state of inner abundance, of gratitude, joy, and expectation, not from anxiety or competition. Earl Nightingale's philosophy echoed the same idea in a more structured way. He taught that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. But behind that line lies a spiritual secret. You can only realize an ideal if you vibrate at the level of that ideal. You cannot manifest wealth while identifying as poor. You cannot receive abundance while secretly believing it's scarce. So how do you change that? How do you align with the hidden law of wealth? The first step is awareness. Notice the energy behind your thoughts. Every time you think about money, feel the emotion that follows. Is it worry? Is it frustration? Is it disbelief? Those feelings are not random. They are the vibration you're transmitting. The universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you feel you are. If you say, "I want to be rich," but vibrate, "I don't believe I can," the universe only hears the vibration. That's why affirmations without faith fail and effort without energy burns out. You must begin to shift your frequency intentionally. Start by imagining yourself as already abundant, not as a fantasy, but as a state of being. Ask yourself, if I already had the wealth I desire, how would I think? How would I speak? How would I walk, breathe, or treat others? Then start living from that state now. This is the great paradox. You don't manifest by trying to get. You manifest by being the vibration of what you want. When you hold that vibration consistently, even in moments of doubt, your outer world begins to rearrange itself. Opportunities appear not as miracles, but as mirrors of your new frequency. You meet people who match your new energy. You notice synchronicities that feel too perfect to be coincidence. And this is the universe confirming you're in harmony now. Earl Nightingale used the metaphor of planting seeds. You plant a seed of thought in the soil of your mind, and what you nurture grows. If you plant seeds of fear, you harvest fear. If you plant seeds of faith, you harvest abundance. But here's what most people forget. The soil doesn't judge the seed. It simply gives life to whatever is planted. The universe is the same. It amplifies whatever vibration you sow. That's why gratitude is such a powerful amplifier. Gratitude tells the universe, I already have, and I am ready for more. It's not begging, it's acknowledgement. When you feel gratitude for your current blessings, you vibrate abundance, and abundance grows. Bob Proctor would teach that the only limits in life are the ones we accept. That's not poetic, it's literal. Beliefs are frequencies that filter reality. If you believe wealth is hard to get, the universe will prove you right. If you believe money flows easily, it will. Not because the universe changes, but because you do. Your vibration shifts, and you begin to perceive and attract in new ways. This is what both Nightingale and Proctor wanted people to see, that wealth is not a mystery. It's mathematics of vibration. Change the equation, and the result changes automatically. Now imagine for a moment that your life is an energetic current. Every thought adds charge. Every emotion adds intensity. Every belief adds direction. Most people live with crossed wires, thinking one thing, feeling another, believing something else entirely. Their signal to the universe is chaotic, and so their results are inconsistent. But when your mind, heart, and spirit send one clear signal, I'm abundance, I'm aligned, I'm ready, the current becomes powerful, and the universe responds in kind. Earl Nightingale and Bob Proctor lived in complete faith of this truth. They knew the real work was not outside, but inside. They knew that the harder you work without alignment, the slower you progress. But once you align spiritually, the universe multiplies your effort. That's why they both emphasized awareness before action. When awareness shifts, action becomes effortless, inspired, and guided. You no longer fight against the current. You flow with it. So, the hidden spiritual law that attracts wealth faster than hard work is not about doing more. It's about being more conscious, being more grateful, being more connected to the divine intelligence that created you. Because when you are in harmony with that intelligence, you move beyond struggle into creation. You stop asking, how will it come? And start knowing it's already on its way. And that knowing, that calm, confident vibration, is what makes wealth appear faster than any grind or hustle ever could. Before wealth appears in your outer world, it must first exist within you, as an inner resonance, an invisible certainty. The reason most people never experience true abundance is that they try to force wealth through physical action without realizing that their internal frequency is broadcasting scarcity. Earl Nightingale once said, "We are all self-made, but only the successful will admit it." What he meant is that every condition of your life, financial, emotional, spiritual, is the direct reflection of what you have accepted as true about yourself. You are the architect, and your mind is the blueprint. Bob Proctor expanded this into a spiritual equation. Belief plus vibration equals manifestation. Whatever you hold in belief and radiate through emotion must appear in form. The universe cannot do otherwise because it operates by a mutable law. The inner origin of abundance. Imagine the ocean. The surface waves are visible, chaotic, and restless. They are like the outer world of action, effort, and struggle. But beneath those waves lies the calm, infinite depth, the unseen spiritual dimension. When your consciousness descends from the noisy surface of worry into the stillness of that depth, you connect with the source where creation truly begins. That's the effortless part of effortless wealth. It's not laziness or avoidance, but alignment with the deeper current of divine intelligence. Every spiritual tradition has whispered the same secret. Seek first the kingdom within, and all things shall be added unto you. The kingdom is not a place. It's a frequency, the vibration of harmony with abundance. When you awaken to that frequency, you realize that money is not something you pursue. It's a byproduct of your vibration. Just as flowers bloom when the soil and light are right, wealth grows naturally when your inner conditions are aligned. The shift from force to flow. Hard work belongs to the realm of force, pushing, striving, fighting against conditions. Flow belongs to the realm of faith, trusting, allowing, creating through vibration. The hidden spiritual law rewards those who understand the difference. Bob Proctor taught that when you set a goal, you are not supposed to get the goal. The goal is supposed to grow you. The purpose of desiring wealth is to expand your consciousness until it matches that of abundance itself. Once that happens, the outer result becomes inevitable. So, ask yourself, what energy are you working from? Are you working to escape lack, or are you working to express abundance? Those two frequencies look the same on the outside. Both involve effort, but energetically, they are worlds apart. When you work from lack, your vibration says, "I don't have enough." The universe mirrors that. When you work from abundance, your vibration says, "I already have, and I'm expanding it." The universe mirrors that too. The energetic field of wealth. Earl Nightingale was decades ahead of his time when he said that everything begins with an idea. Science has now confirmed what he intuitively knew. We live in a quantum universe made of energy and frequency. In the quantum field, your dominant vibration acts like a magnet. Thoughts are electrical. Emotions are magnetic. Together, they create a field of attraction. That means you don't attract what you want. You attract what you are vibrating. If you constantly think, "I want more money," the vibration you send out is wanting. The universe doesn't deliver money. It delivers more wanting. But if you feel gratitude, security, and joy now, regardless of external circumstances, the vibration becomes abundance, and abundance must respond. This is not imagination, it's resonance. The same principle that causes a tuning fork to vibrate in harmony with another operates in your consciousness every second. The wealth you seek already exists, not somewhere out there, but as a frequency in the infinite field of potential. You are not creating money from nothing. You are tuning into the version of reality where it already exists. The spiritual mechanics of manifestation. Thought is the creative spark. Thought is the directive force, the blueprint that gives form to energy. When you think deliberately, you begin shaping the formless substance of spirit. Emotion as the magnetic charge. Emotion is the feeling tone that determines the strength of your attraction. Joy, gratitude, and faith amplify. Fear, doubt, and resentment repel. Belief as the stabilizer belief locks the vibration into consistency. A fleeting positive thought cannot manifest. A sustained conviction can move mountains. Action as the physical conductor, inspired action grounds the vibration into the material plane. Action is not the cause of wealth. It is the expression of alignment. When all four move together, manifestation becomes inevitable. Bob Proctor used to illustrate this by drawing a stick figure, the little man with a big head representing the mind. He would point to it and say, "You are not your body. You are a spiritual being living in a physical body, and you have a mind to direct it." Once you truly grasp that, the way you approach work changes forever. Faith as frequency. Faith, in this context, is not blind hope. It's a vibration of certainty, the knowing that the invisible world is more real than the visible. Earl Nightingale's voice carried that certainty. When he said, "We become what we think about," he wasn't suggesting wishful thinking. He was describing a universal principle of consciousness. Faith collapses possibility into form. Quantum physics calls it the observer effect. The spiritual world calls it belief made flesh. If you hold faith long enough, reality must rearrange itself to match your vibration. Detachment. The power of non-resistance. Here lies one of the hardest truths for people to accept. You cannot attract what you are desperate for. Desperation vibrates lack. The energy of needing something tells the universe that you don't have it, and that frequency perpetuates absence. Nightingale often used the metaphor of planting a seed and then digging it up every day to see if it's growing. Most people do this with their dreams. They set an intention, but their constant worrying uproots it before it can grow. Detachment means trusting that the seed will sprout. It means releasing control and allowing the law to work. You don't have to know how wealth will come, only that it will. Bob Proctor called this letting go and letting God. He said, "The moment you release resistance, everything you've been asking for rushes toward you." Rewriting the subconscious blueprint. The subconscious mind is the transmitter of vibration. It doesn't respond to logic or willpower. It responds to repetition and emotion. That's why affirmation without feeling doesn't work. The subconscious speaks the language of feeling. To reprogram it, you must impress new ideas upon it repeatedly and emotionally. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools for this. Close your eyes and see yourself living the wealth you desire. Feel the gratitude, the freedom, the security. Don't watch it as a movie. Live it internally. The more real it feels, the stronger the vibration. Proctor used to advise his students, "You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. So become it." The law of circulation. Wealth flows like water. It must circulate. When people hoard or fear losing money, they constrict the flow of abundance. Generosity, on the other hand, expands it. Earl Nightingale often reminded his listeners that service is the rent we pay for the space we occupy on Earth. Giving is not sacrifice. It's participation in the universal current of circulation. When you give freely, you affirm abundance, and that affirmation multiplies. The universe operates through rhythm. Give and receive, inhale and exhale, ebb and flow. To hold wealth is to keep it moving. Aligning your frequency in practice. Here is a simple practice both men would have loved. Morning alignment. Before doing anything, sit quietly and declare, "I am abundance. I am aligned with infinite supply. Everything I need flows to me in perfect order." Feel it, see it, believe it. Gratitude activation. Write down 10 things you are grateful for every morning and every night. Gratitude multiplies your vibration instantly. Energetic audit. Throughout the day, notice your emotional state. Each emotion is a broadcast signal. If you feel tension, pause, breathe, and realign. Evening surrender. Before sleep, release control. Say to the universe, "I trust the process. I am ready to receive." These daily calibrations train your mind to remain tuned to the vibration of abundance. Transcending hard work. Let's be clear. This philosophy doesn't reject work. It transcends it. Hard work without alignment is strain. Work from alignment is creation. When you act from inspiration, energy flows through you rather than from you. You become a channel of divine intelligence, and what used to take years begins to happen in months or even weeks. That's why some people appear to have lucky breaks. In truth, they have simply entered resonance with opportunity. Earl Nightingale compared this to tuning a radio. The station has always been broadcasting. You just couldn't hear it until you tuned in. Likewise, the frequency of wealth is already around you. The moment you tune your inner dial, you begin hearing and receiving it. The evolution of conscious wealth. As your vibration stabilizes, your definition of wealth evolves. You realize that money is only one expression of abundance. True wealth includes freedom, peace, purpose, and contribution. Bob Proctor often said, "The purpose of wealth is to make you more of who you already are." When your heart is aligned with spirit, wealth amplifies your goodness. When it's not, it amplifies your fear. That's why the spiritual work must always come first. Without it, money magnifies chaos. With it, money magnifies creation. The great realization, the ultimate truth, is that you are not trying to attract wealth. You are remembering that you already are wealth. Wealth is the natural state of the soul. It is the vibration of expansion, the rhythm of life itself. Every tree, every star, every heartbeat expresses abundance. You are a unique expression of that same creative intelligence. When you align with that knowing, money becomes a servant, not a master. You no longer chase it. It flows to you because you've become the embodiment of its source. This is the essence of the hidden law, that spirit creates, mind directs, and form obeys. Hard work is only the echo. The true creation happens in consciousness. And once you awaken that awareness, wealth can appear in miraculous ways. An idea, a meeting, an opportunity, an inspired impulse. To the untrained eye, it looks like luck. But to the awakened soul, it's simply law in motion. Everything in the universe vibrates. From galaxies to grains of sand, from human hearts to thoughts in your mind. All of it is movement, rhythm, and frequency. This simple, profound fact is the bridge between science and spirituality, between physics and faith, between Earl Nightingale's structured philosophy and Bob Proctor's metaphysical mastery. When Nightingale said, "We become what we think about," he wasn't being poetic. He was articulating a law of energy resonance. And when Proctor said, "Your results are an expression of your subconscious vibration," he was explaining the same phenomenon, the science of spirit. Both men understood that wealth, success, and abundance are not accidents. They are effects, visible expressions of invisible causes. Those causes live inside your mind and soul. The vibrational blueprint. Your life is a vibrational printout of your consciousness. Every thought you think and every emotion you feel becomes a frequency broadcast into the universal field. That field, sometimes called the ether, spirit, or the quantum field, responds with perfect precision. It doesn't respond to your wishes, hopes, or complaints. It responds to your dominant vibration. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. You smile, the mirror smiles. You frown, the mirror frowns. You wouldn't expect the reflection to change before you do. Yet, most people do exactly that with their lives. They want their finances to change before their mindset does. They want opportunities to appear before gratitude arises. Earl Nightingale's timeless message was, to change your world, change your mind. This isn't metaphor, it's mechanics. Your outer life cannot outgrow your inner image. The law of resonance in action, in the simplest terms. Every thought emits a frequency. Every emotion modulates that frequency. Every belief stabilizes or destabilizes it. When your inner frequencies align with wealth, feelings of gratitude, confidence, creativity, joy, you resonate with the vibration of abundance. Opportunities, ideas, and resources that match that frequency begin to appear magically. Bob Proctor used to say, "If you can hold the image in your mind, you can hold it in your hand." What he meant is that once your vibration and beliefs stay constant long enough, reality reorganizes around that pattern. It's not luck, it's law. The mind as an energy transmitter. Modern quantum physics has proven what ancient mystics already knew. Consciousness influences matter. In the famous double-slit experiment, particles of light behave differently when observed. The act of observation, of awareness, changed the outcome. Your thoughts are doing the same thing every day. Each idea you focus on collapses potential into form. When you think in abundance, you activate the wave of prosperity in the quantum field. When you think in fear or scarcity, you collapse into limitation. The mind, then, is not a storage box for memories. It's a projector of reality. Nightingale taught his listeners that thoughts are things. Proctor clarified it decades later by saying, "Your mind is movement. Your body is an instrument of that movement." Together, they were describing how consciousness translates into form. Energy versus effort. Effort works in the physical world. Energy works in the spiritual world. True creation happens when both are harmonized. A person who acts without vibrational alignment works 10 times harder for 1/10 the result. Another person, aligned vibrationally with abundance, can accomplish more in a day than others in a decade. Why? Because aligned action flows from inspiration, not desperation. It carries the frequency of certainty. That's why Earl Nightingale and Bob Proctor both spoke of thinking into results. The process begins in vibration, not motion. You don't get rich by working harder. You become wealthy by becoming the frequency of wealth. The work then becomes an extension of that vibration, a joyful expression, not a desperate effort. The magnetic law of belief. Belief is the anchor of vibration. You can visualize all you want, but if your subconscious mind rejects the image, nothing will move. Proctor often said, "Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. It only knows repetition. To change your outer world, you must impress new beliefs repeatedly, emotionally, and consistently until they become the dominant pattern." That's what affirmations are really for. Not to convince your conscious mind, but to reprogram your subconscious. Nightingale's recordings worked this way too. His deep, deliberate voice bypassed the analytical mind and sank into the subconscious. Listeners didn't just hear his words, they absorbed his vibration. That's why repetition matters. Every time you repeat a thought with feeling, you carve a deeper groove in the subconscious until it becomes automatic. Frequency of gratitude. Gratitude is the most powerful wealth frequency. It instantly shifts you from lack to abundance. Think about it. When you're grateful, you are acknowledging that you already have. That signal tells the universe, "I am abundant." Gratitude amplifies receiving because it harmonizes your inner tone with the vibration of giving. Bob Proctor practiced gratitude every morning, not just as a ritual, but as a tuning exercise. He said, "When you're in a state of gratitude, you're on the frequency of abundance, and that's where good things start to happen." Earl Nightingale echoed the same truth decades before when he reminded his listeners that success is not the pursuit of happiness. Happiness is the pursuit of success. In other words, feel wealthy now and wealth will follow. The emotional scale of manifestation. To master the hidden law, you must become emotionally literate. Every emotion is a signal that tells you what frequency you are transmitting. Emotion vibration result fear, doubt low resistance, delay anger, frustration mid-disruption, confusion hope, curiosity rising momentum begins gratitude, love high manifestation, flow. You don't need to stay in perfect joy all the time. You just need to be aware enough to shift upward when you fall into low vibration. As Proctor said, awareness is the beginning of change. That awareness is the fulcrum on which your entire financial and spiritual evolution turns. The quantum mirror of reality. Every situation in your life, good or bad, is a mirror reflecting your internal state. If you are surrounded by scarcity, it's not punishment, it's feedback. The universe is simply showing you the vibration you are emitting. Once you see life this way, you stop taking struggle personally. You understand that life isn't happening to you. It's responding to you. This realization gives you power, not the power of control, but the power of creation. Nightingale's wisdom fits perfectly here. Your environment, the people you attract, the income you earn, they are all in harmony with your habitual thinking. The moment you shift the habitual thought, the environment must follow. The infinite supply principle Bob Proctor loved to remind his audiences. You're living in an ocean of motion, and there is no shortage of supply. That phrase, ocean of motion, captures the essence of abundance. There is no real lack in the universe. There is only lack of awareness. Think of radio frequencies again. If you can't hear the station, it's not because the signal isn't broadcasting. It's because you're tuned to another channel. The universe is endlessly broadcasting frequencies of wealth, love, and opportunity. Your job is to tune in. You do this by feeling abundant, acting from abundance, and thinking abundantly, even before the evidence appears. That's the paradox. You must become the frequency before the results arrive. The results are merely the echo. From physical goals to spiritual expansion, Nightingale approached success as a thinker. Proctor approached it as a mystic. Together, they reveal that the purpose of every material goal is to stimulate spiritual growth. You set a goal not to acquire, but to awaken. The mansion, the business, the millions, they are mirrors reflecting how much consciousness you've expanded. When you understand that, wealth stops being a chase and becomes a celebration. You stop saying, "I'll be happy when I'm rich," and begin realizing, "I'm rich when I'm happy." This inversion changes everything. It harmonizes your vibration with the flow of life. The resonance practice to integrate all of this. Practice resonance daily. Stillness. Sit in silence. Breathe. Feel your connection to the infinite. Vision. Imagine the life you desire as though it already exists. Emotion. Let gratitude flood your body. Feel the joy as if it's happening now. Declaration. Speak. I am wealth. I am abundance. I am divine supply. Release. Let go of when and how. Trust the unseen law. This is how Nightingale's reason meets Proctor's spirit. The rational mind focuses the image. The spiritual heart energizes it. Together, they form the perfect creative circuit. The great alignment eventually, the line between you and the universe, disappears. You realize that you were never separate. The same intelligence that guides the stars is guiding your financial destiny. Earl Nightingale expressed this truth in practical words. Bob Proctor expressed it in mystical ones. But they were describing one phenomenon, the spiritual law of vibration. When your energy aligns with divine intelligence, work becomes worship, money becomes energy, and success becomes service. You stop striving and start allowing. You stop surviving and start creating. That is the moment when wealth no longer feels like an achievement, but like a natural expression of who you've become. The hidden law revealed the hidden spiritual law isn't really hidden. It's simply ignored. It says, you attract not what you want, but what you are in harmony with. No one taught this better than Earl Nightingale and Bob Proctor. Their legacies remain a map for awakening, guiding anyone willing to look inward first. When you master your frequency, money, opportunities, and miracles begin to find you with effortless precision. Because the truth is timeless. The inner always precedes the outer, and spirit always outruns labor. There is a secret rhythm that governs the universe, an invisible current of energy that doesn't respond to effort, sweat, or exhaustion, but to alignment. This is what Earl Nightingale hinted at when he said, "You become what you think about most of the time." And Bob Proctor completed that truth when he declared, "Vibration is everything. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get it." They were describing the same universal law, the hidden spiritual law of wealth, one that transcends time, religion, and logic. It explains why some people, seemingly without much effort, attract abundance as if wealth were magnetized to them, while others work tirelessly, yet stay stuck in scarcity. It isn't about luck, it's about vibration, the invisible force behind wealth. Most people are conditioned from childhood to believe that hard work equals success. They're told that effort, discipline, and sacrifice are the only roads to wealth. But as Nightingale and Proctor both realized, there's a higher equation at play. You can spend decades working hard, but if your energy is misaligned, you'll only create more struggle. The law of attraction doesn't respond to how much you do. It responds to who you are being while you do it. This is the silent secret behind what Bob Proctor called the frequency of prosperity. Every thought emits a vibration. Every feeling broadcasts a signal. And that signal draws to you experiences that match its tone. If your dominant vibration is stress, fear, or doubt, you magnetize situations that reinforce scarcity. But if your frequency vibrates with gratitude, certainty, and abundance, the universe reflects that energy back in the form of wealth, opportunities, and inspired action. This is the hidden law. You attract not what you want, but what you are. Hard work versus energetic alignment. Earl Nightingale's brilliance was his rational explanation of the mind. He taught millions to set clear goals and use thought as a tool for creation. But even he hinted at the mystical dimension behind it, that unseen force that turns thoughts into tangible reality. He called it the strangest secret. That secret is that you don't earn success, you allow it. You don't chase wealth, you become it. Bob Proctor illuminated the other side of that truth, energy. He showed that thought isn't merely an idea in your brain. It's a vibrational frequency that interacts with everything in the universe. So when you think of wealth, but your subconscious is still tuned to lack, the signals cancel each other out. You send a mixed vibration. It's like trying to tune into a radio station while standing between frequencies. All you hear is static. The moment you align your inner state, when your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs vibrate in harmony with abundance, the static clears. You tune directly into the station of prosperity. And then wealth begins to appear not as a result of your labor, but as a reflection of your state. The science of spirit. Modern quantum physics has started to catch up with what mystics like Nightingale and Proctor already knew. The reality is not as solid as it appears. At its core, everything is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Your body, your thoughts, your emotions, all waves in the same cosmic ocean. When you focus thought and emotion in one direction, you organize that energy into form. This is creation in motion. So, if you constantly think, "I am broke," or "money is hard to get," you're shaping energetic patterns that mirror those beliefs. But if you repeat, "I am abundance itself," and you feel that truth vibrating through your cells, you shift your frequency to one of attraction. Nightingale taught that the mind is like a fertile field. Whatever you plant, it will grow. Bob Proctor expanded that. Your energy waters the seeds. When both are in harmony, clear thought and aligned vibration, manifestation becomes inevitable. How to activate the hidden law to harness this hidden spiritual law? You don't need to work harder. You need to raise your frequency higher. Here's how. Calm the mind. Spend a few minutes daily in stillness. Breathe deeply. Silence the inner noise. When the conscious mind quiets, the subconscious becomes receptive. Feel the end result now. Don't visualize wealth as something in the future. Feel it now. Walk, talk, and act as the version of you who already has it. Speak the language of abundance. Every word you speak has energy. Replace "I can't afford it" with "money flows to me in expected and unexpected ways." Detach from the how. The universe doesn't need your logic, only your trust. Release control and allow the process to unfold naturally. Stay in a state of gratitude. Gratitude is the magnet of miracles. When you are thankful, you vibrate at the same frequency as abundance. This is not metaphysical poetry. It's an energetic equation. Your vibration precedes your manifestation. The paradox of effort. Here's the irony. When you finally stop trying so hard to make money, that's when it begins to flow. Effort, when rooted in scarcity, repels what you desire. But action, when rooted in inspiration, attracts. Nightingale often spoke of the attitude of success, a calm confidence that naturally radiates from a person who knows they are in harmony with their goals. That's the zone where miracles happen. You still act, but your actions are guided, not forced. You work, but with joy, not struggle. You plan, but from certainty, not desperation. This is why some entrepreneurs seem to magnetize success effortlessly. Their energy leads. Their work follows. Wealth is consciousness, Bob Proctor once said. The law of attraction is always working. You are the one deciding what it brings. This means wealth is not a product of doing more. It's a product of being more. The person who embodies abundance in thought and spirit cannot help but attract circumstances that match that vibration. Wealth is not outside of you. It's not something to chase. It's something to remember. Earl Nightingale's voice echoes through time, reminding us, we become what we think about. And Proctor's teachings expand that truth. You attract what you feel about what you think about. When you merge the mind, thought, and the heart, feeling, you unlock the spiritual frequency where creation happens. The spiritual shortcut. There's a deeper reason why this law works faster than hard work. Hard work is linear. It exists in time. But vibration is quantum. It transcends time. When you align with abundance energetically, you bypass the slow mechanics of the physical plane. The universe reorganizes reality around your dominant frequency. That's why opportunities suddenly appear, why people unexpectedly help you, and why synchronicities multiply. What took years through hard effort happens in months, sometimes days, through energetic coherence. The hidden spiritual law doesn't break the rules of the universe. It uses the higher ones. Integrating Nightingale plus Proctor, together, these two masters gave humanity a map to wealth beyond logic. Nightingale provided the compass, disciplined thought, purpose, and direction. Proctor provided the current, energy, vibration, and frequency. When you unite them, you become a conscious creator. You stop chasing and start attracting. You move from effort to flow, from fear to faith, from scarcity to spiritual certainty. The living truth, so the next time you catch yourself overworking, pause. Ask yourself, what is my vibration right now? Because your vibration is your real job. When you hold the frequency of wealth, calm, grateful, expectant, the universe mirrors it. Money, clients, ideas, and synchronicities begin to orbit your energy field like planets around a sun. That is the true meaning of the hidden spiritual law of wealth. You don't create abundance by working harder. You attract it by becoming the energy of abundance itself. And as Nightingale and Proctor both whispered to the world, that is not magic. That is the way the universe has always worked. There comes a moment when the mind no longer strives to force reality, but begins to vibrate with it. That's the moment the entire universe starts to cooperate. The energy that once seemed resistant becomes fluid. Doors open, and people who seemed distant begin to align as if guided by an unseen hand. This is not coincidence. It is resonance. Earl Nightingale called it the turning point of awareness. Bob Proctor described it as the quantum leap of consciousness. Both were speaking of the same invisible law, the one that governs all manifestation. The energy you sustain is the reality you live. When you understand that wealth is consciousness, your relationship with money changes forever. You stop asking, "How can I make more?" and start asking, "How can I become more aligned with the energy of abundance?" Because money is not chasing you, it's responding to you. It mirrors your self-worth, your beliefs, your emotional frequency. That's why people who feel unworthy, even when they earn more, often lose it. They haven't yet matched the vibration of what they received. Wealth requires an energetic home, and that home is built inside your state of being. As you begin to embody this truth, something extraordinary happens. Your actions, once driven by effort, start to flow from inspiration. You feel guided, almost magnetized toward opportunities that once seemed invisible. The energy of struggle dissolves, replaced by a quiet confidence. That is the vibration of knowing, the frequency of those who live as creators, not as seekers. Nightingale often said that the person who knows where they're going is already halfway there. But when you add spiritual awareness to that direction, you transcend the halfway point. You step into effortless alignment. Think of your thoughts as seeds and your emotions as sunlight. The seed of an idea only becomes real when it receives emotional energy. So when you dream of abundance but feed it with worry, you shade it from the light it needs to grow. But when you nurture it with faith, gratitude, and clarity, the universe responds instantly. It reorganizes the field around you because energy always seeks coherence. That's why one moment of genuine belief can undo years of self-doubt. It's not the time that matters, it's the vibration. Bob Proctor loved to say that the universe is a perfect mirror. It never gives you what you want. It gives you what you are. If you want more wealth, you must stop trying to get and start becoming. You can't attract abundance from a state of need because need vibrates lack. The secret, which both Proctor and Nightingale discovered in their own ways, is to embody the feeling before the evidence, to celebrate before the arrival, to vibrate as though it's already done. That single shift from wanting to knowing, from effort to energy, transforms everything. This is where spirituality and the law of attraction merge into a single truth. Energy is prayer. Every thought is a form of communication with the infinite. You are never begging the universe. You are broadcasting to it. Each time you visualize your success, each time you feel gratitude for what's yet unseen, you are speaking in the only language creation understands, vibration. And the universe always replies with precision. It cannot misunderstand frequency. As your frequency rises, your external world must rearrange itself to match it. This is not philosophy. It's spiritual physics. The outer world bends to the inner one. You begin to notice that people treat you differently, that opportunities find you, that even random encounters seem designed for your growth. That's the hidden spiritual law operating through you, not because you demanded it, but because you align with it. The paradox is that once you reach this state, wealth no longer feels like the goal. It becomes a natural extension of your essence. You no longer chase the money. You radiate the frequency that attracts it. And because that frequency is built on gratitude and peace, the abundance that arrives is stable. It stays, it multiplies, and it serves. That is the kind of wealth that both Nightingale and Proctor meant when they spoke of being truly rich. It's not just about possessions, it's about power over your own vibration. The real mastery comes when you can hold that vibration, even when the external world hasn't yet caught up. That's when your faith is tested and proven. Earl Nightingale said that faith is the ability to see the invisible and believe in the intangible. Bob Proctor took it further, teaching that when you emotionally commit to the unseen, it must become seen. Because energy, once directed with conviction, collapses into form. Every spiritual tradition echoes this in its own words. Belief creates reality. As you live in that awareness, you start to understand that your mind and spirit are one creative force. Thought without emotion is static. Emotion without thought is chaos. But when both unite in a clear intention, the result is manifestation. This is why meditative focus and emotional gratitude are the two pillars of all abundance practices. They fuse the rational and the mystical, the very balance that Nightingale and Proctor embodied. The first gives your creation direction. The second gives it power. The more you practice this, the more you realize that abundance was never something to achieve. It was something to remember. Every soul is born rich, not because of money, but because of infinite creative potential. You are a fragment of the same intelligence that moves galaxies. To think that wealth could ever be scarce is to misunderstand your own source. When you align with that truth, scarcity dissolves, effort fades, and creation becomes natural. You stop chasing energy and start emanating it. Then, without struggle, you begin to notice the shift. The ideas come faster. People sense your confidence. Money starts to circulate with ease, not because you worked harder, but because you worked higher. You stopped operating from force and began operating from frequency. That is the spiritual shortcut, the hidden law that attracts wealth faster than labor ever could. For in truth, the universe is not responding to your hours. It's responding to your harmony. The greatest gift of all is realizing that this law doesn't favor anyone. It responds equally to everyone who aligns with it. You don't need privilege, opportunity, or luck. You only need awareness. And when that awareness deepens, your whole perception of reality shifts. You see that you were never waiting for abundance to find you. It was waiting for you to become still enough to receive it. The mind calms. The energy expands. The universe listens. And in that silence, wealth, true, enduring, spiritual wealth, begins to flow toward you, faster than effort, freer than time, and as natural as breathing. When you finally understand how spirit and energy create form, you begin to live in a completely new rhythm. You stop pushing against the world and start flowing with it. You realize that the universe has never been outside of you. It has always been reflecting you. The wealth you seek is simply a mirror of your most consistent vibration. The moment you align your thought, emotion, and energy toward one coherent purpose, everything that once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Earl Nightingale said that the mind, once stretched by a new idea, never returns to its original dimension. When you truly grasp that you are a spiritual being with infinite potential, you can never again believe in limitation. You may experience delays, but not defeat. You may encounter obstacles, but they become catalysts for greater clarity. You start to see that the challenges on your path are not blockages. They are energy tests, asking whether your vibration is stable enough to sustain the abundance you've asked for. The key to mastering this hidden spiritual law is consistency. Most people oscillate between faith and fear. One day, they feel powerful. The next, they collapse under doubt. But the universe does not respond to occasional faith. It responds to constant vibration. That is why the wealthiest, happiest, and most fulfilled people are not the ones who try harder. They are the ones who believe longer. They maintain their inner frequency, even when the outer world wavers. That steady energy is what builds momentum. It's the silent force behind all visible success. Bob Proctor often said, "Discipline is the bridge between your conscious and subconscious mind." He meant that repetition reprograms your vibration. Every time you think, feel, and act from abundance, you reinforce that identity. You are training your energy to stay elevated. And the more stable your vibration becomes, the faster wealth appears. Not because the universe suddenly favors you, but because you finally stopped contradicting yourself. You are no longer asking for prosperity with your words while doubting it with your energy. This is why gratitude is one of the most powerful tools of creation. Gratitude harmonizes your vibration with abundance instantly. It is the energy of already having, the feeling that dissolves resistance. When you are truly grateful, you are not wishing. You are acknowledging. You are saying to the universe, I recognize your generosity, even before it appears. That single act of recognition aligns your field with the frequency of receiving. You begin to live as though you already have it, and the universe has no choice but to match that signal. Spiritual wealth is not only about money. It's about expansion. It's the feeling of being fully alive, creative, and connected. Money becomes the byproduct of your alignment, not the reason for it. This shift is the real secret of the great thinkers and teachers. They stopped worshiping money and started honoring energy. Once you understand that energy precedes form, you treat your vibration like your most valuable asset. You protect it from doubt, you nurture it with vision, and you amplify it with gratitude. You may wonder, how do I keep my vibration high when life gets hard? The answer is simple but profound. You return to awareness. Awareness is the control room of the soul. The moment you notice yourself falling into fear, judgment, or scarcity, you can choose again. You can redirect your focus toward appreciation. That single conscious act changes your energetic frequency. And because the universe is immediate in its response to vibration, your outer circumstances begin to shift accordingly. What you focus on expands, always. There's another aspect to this law that Nightingale and Proctor understood deeply. Imagination is spiritual communication. When you visualize, you are not daydreaming. You are speaking to the infinite. You are giving direction to universal intelligence. Every clear mental image, backed by emotion, becomes a command to energy. The more vivid and consistent your imagination, the more precise the results. This is why both men urge people to write their goals, see them daily, and live as though they were already done. The mind, when given a definite picture, turns it into physical reality. When your imagination is aligned with belief, your actions become unstoppable, not forced, but guided. You wake up with ideas, you meet the right people, you find yourself at the right place. Life becomes orchestration instead of effort. That's the flow state of abundance. When you are so aligned, that manifestation feels natural. At this level, money ceases to be something you pursue. It becomes something that flows through you as a tool for creation, service, and joy. This is the essence of the hidden law. Wealth flows faster through those who are spiritually clear. Clarity reduces resistance, and resistance is the only delay in manifestation. The universe does not withhold, it mirrors. If there is delay, it's because your energy is still negotiating between doubt and desire. But the moment you decide, fully and emotionally, that you are already abundant, creation accelerates. Decision is spiritual authority. It tells the universe that you have remembered who you are, a creator, not a beggar. Imagine standing before a mirror. If you want the reflection to smile, you must smile first. The universe operates the same way. You cannot wait for abundance to appear before feeling abundant. You must radiate it first. The feeling is the cause. The wealth is the effect. That's why those who live in joy, gratitude, and service seem to attract more effortlessly, because they are already vibrating as abundance itself. Earl Nightingale's timeless principle still echoes today. We become what we think about. Bob Proctor expanded it into vibration and frequency, showing how the invisible creates the visible. Together, their teachings reveal that wealth is not a pursuit. It's a permission. You allow it by aligning your inner world with it. The spiritual law is not hidden from you. It's hidden within you. It waits for your awareness to awaken it. So as you move through your days, practice alignment, not struggle. When you feel scarcity, pause and remember that your energy is the signal that commands creation. Choose again. Feel wealth in your breath, abundance in your surroundings, gratitude in your heart. Each time you do this, you activate the same frequency that moves galaxies and grows forests. That is the divine current of creation, and you are part of it. Wealth, then, is not a reward for effort. It is the reflection of your energetic harmony. The more at peace you are, the more prosperous you become. The more you give, the more flows back. The more you love, the more the universe opens its vaults. That is the hidden spiritual law operating faster than any labor, more powerfully than any plan. Vibration over effort, energy over action, consciousness over control. You were born into a universe that wants to express itself through you. Every dream you have is life asking you to expand. You don't have to force it. You only have to allow it. And the more you trust this truth, the more easily wealth finds its way to you. It will not be magic, but it will feel miraculous, because you'll finally be living in harmony with the creative rhythm of existence. So take a deep breath, center your energy, and declare silently, I am abundance in motion. From this point forward, let your thoughts, emotions, and actions reflect that truth. Live as if it's already done, because energetically, it is. And as you do, watch the evidence of your inner wealth appear everywhere. In opportunities, in people, in peace, and in prosperity that feels as natural as your own heartbeat. That is the final secret, the spiritual law that attracts wealth faster than hard work. Not through struggle, not through sacrifice, but through alignment with who you truly are, a divine expression of infinite abundance.